Hello everybody, and we're back at the table, and it is time for another dollar store aquarium supplies video. So I decided to go to the dollar store with $5, so we're getting 5 more items. Last video, if you guys haven't seen that, you can go check that one out. It's an older video, but it still showcases some items. I did 10 items. Now I've got 5 more that I got for $5 at the dollar store. This was a Dollar Tree, so everything is actually $1 here. So let's just jump right into the first item. So what we're gonna start off with is this. So this is a flavor injector, as they call it at the dollar store, and it comes with this metal tool, but we really won't need that, and I'll show you why. So we're just gonna crack this thing open, and a lot of the kitchen products are made by this Cooking Concepts brand. I guess it's the dollar store brand, but when it comes to buying stuff from the dollar store, when it comes to aquarium things, you really gotta look in every aisle. But again, comes with this metal piece, which is barely even metal. I mean, this is on the verge of plastic, but this is so that you can, let me take this protective piece off. This is so that you can like penetrate this inside like a turkey or something, inject flavor, I guess. I really don't see why you need to do that. But again, I've never cooked a turkey. But we really came for this. And what you can do with this is you can use this to both inject medication into your tank, like in certain milliliter dosages, if you don't have a dosing cap or cup or something like that. And also if you're feeding live baby brine, it makes it a lot easier if you can just suck them up in a baster like this, and then just squirt them out into your tank so that you can feed your fish. Makes it a lot simpler with something like this, and it's really easy to use an item like this. So this is a really great item to get, and you can use it for pretty much anything. You can use this to water plants if you're not actually using it for an aquarium thing, but plenty of things you can use this for in an aquarium. So next, we've got these labeled as travel bottles, but I really only bought this for one of these bottles, but I'm sure we could use all of them. But mainly I bought it for this one. So this bottle has a little cap here, and so it can unscrew, right? So you add water to this, and very simple. Most of you guys already know, but if you've got a terrarium or a paludarium, you can mist the plants that are out of water with something like this. And it does come with these other two right here. But this is like a travel kit, so I guess this would typically be for something like soap or shampoo. I don't really know what you'd use this for. I guess you could store things in it, like I guess you put food in here if you're really desperate. But really, we're only buying it for this thing. And just a mister, you can mist your plants with this thing. In fact, let me get some water in this. So as you can see, just a really, you probably can't see it very well, but just a nice mist right here. And what you can do is use this to water mist down moss or plants like that. This is actually really useful if you decide to go into like a pond style tank or anything where you're growing plants out of water. This is really helpful, and again, you can get this at the dollar store. So next up, we've got a level, which again, generic dollar store brand, tool bench hardware. Who knows where these come from, but this is just standard level, and you might be wondering why you need this, but I'll show you why in a second. So this does have a magnet right here, but so the reason is, alright, you're setting up a new tank, right? And the reason you want a level like this is so that if your tank isn't level, it's both not going to look very good, and it's also going to undermine the structural integrity of your tank. Not severely, but it can. If you've got thinner glass, it'll push more weight on one corner of the tank, not evenly distributing it. So it's really nice to have a level like this. Also, if you're building a tank, which I guess is a little more advanced, but I've built tanks before, and of course I'm really not good at it, but it'd be really helpful to use a level like this, and this is just a very helpful tool to use when you're setting up a new tank. And from what I can tell, this is a pretty accurate level, and this table, of course, isn't super level. My room has never been level, but this is a very useful tool, and I recommend having one of these. Again, get this at the dollar store. I don't need to say that for each one of these, but you know, really easy and super cheap. And so our next two products you might have seen a variation of in the other video, but I think I found like a better version of them. So bear with me, and I'm sorry if you feel like I'm reusing products, but they're definitely different. I feel like they're just better for the right purpose that we're using them for. But, so, we got razor scrapers again, and you might be saying, again, yes, we had these in the other video, but we had a single metal one, which was a little bit large for a smaller aquarium, and also it had a metal handle right here, which can rust easily. And this one comes with 4, and they're just like small size plastic. It'd be a lot easier to use in an aquarium. They won't rust as easily. Of course, you're gonna want to dry these off when you're done using them because the blade will rust, but the reason you'd want these is, again, if you're building a tank, you can use this to clean off silicone. But mainly what I use it for is for cleaning algae, like tough brown algae. You gotta be really careful with the blade, of course, or else you scratch your glass. But tough brown algae, super hard to take care of unless you got something like this. And a credit card is a good use for it, but sometimes you need something like this to get the job done. So, oops, I already did that. But what you do with these is you press this button, and it pops this blade out. You flip it around, slide it back in. It's actually kind of a nifty design. You just pop back in there, locks it in place. It's actually really smart. And of course, these blades are very sharp. Razor blades don't really need to be compensated. That was a really horrible test of the blade, of course. But all razor blades are pretty sharp. And of course, you got 4 of them if one of them rusts or something like that. And you can just use this to scrape algae or silicone off your tank. That's what you'd use these for. And this design actually is pretty nifty, where it just pops right out and pops back in. You don't need to mess around with any blade guards or anything. You just flip it upside down. That's pretty cool. And again, it comes with 4 of them. They're not going to rust as easily. I think this is just a better use of the razor blade idea for an aquarium. And lastly, our final item is, again, you've seen this one before, right? But this one's just better. So the other one is much smaller, and you're going to want a bigger one of these. And hear me out, because if you're using this to sift potting soil, a smaller one, the potting soil that's not getting sifted, is going to fly out and make everything messy. A larger one of these can help prevent that. You can also hook this to the side of your tank when you're filling it up, and that'll help disperse the water when you're pouring water in. There's a ton of use for one of these. In fact, you can even use it as like a net to strain fish, although I wouldn't recommend it, but you definitely can use that. I've seen people use something like this for that. And you can put gravel in here, wash it off. Like if you got some small veto gravel, you don't need to wash a lot. You can do that. Very simple item, but very useful. And I find myself needing one of these way more than you think when it comes to having an aquarium. It might be a little more useful if you have multiple aquariums, but even if you guys just have one, this is a very helpful tool to have on hand, and just all around something really great to have for only $1. Alright everyone, that is 5 more items you can buy at the dollar store for an aquarium. Let me know if you guys like this video and if you want to see more in this series, because they're really cheap to make, and honestly they're fun, and they're things that I would use regularly around the fish room. So if you enjoyed, let me know in the comments, leave a like on the video. I mean, I really don't care if you do either one of those, but I like knowing if you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any other ideas of dollar store items that you've bought before, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.